Eagle, proud symbol of our country, keep on flying high up above, and together we will stand and we'll restore the land. Oh, Eagle, keep on flying, Eagle.
Welcome to Listen to the Eagle. We are live in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm your host, Landon Moore, Mick County Farm Bureau agent. Got Mr. Paul Lott in here with us on the phone. Y'all give us a call at 1-800-251-5891 or pound 444 if you're a C-Spire customer. We're going to be talking a little bit about everything tonight. We have a subject Mr. Paul been talking about before the show started about hog hunting. Hogs have gotten terrible. They're tearing folks' food plots up, all their places up, crops up, everything else. There has been some talk about in other states, Mr. Paul. We was talking about that they have shut down where you can't kill hogs, that they want the government to take over. So we want to open the door on that tonight. Y'all call and give us your opinion. What should we do about the hog situation? What can we do? What are some ideas? Should there be a reward bounty out for them, just like they, Mr. Paul, can you remember back when they, I don't remember when it started, but you remember it used to be, I guess it still is, where they did a payout for beaver tails.
Yeah, it was about $5 a tail, as I remember, Landon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Why couldn't they do something like that, Mr. Paul?
I don't know if they got enough money, but, I believe it would help. The problem is they multiply so fast, Landon.
Right. So if I'm wrong in this, listeners, y'all let me know. But I think they can start having little ones somewhere around 8 months old, and they can have up to 3 litters a year. And I guess what, Mr. Paul, 6, 7, 8 every litter. So by the time the first ones have hit the ground for the year, by the time that mama has the third ones, the first ones are having their own little ones, right?
That's right, and we need to do like Texas is doing, get them helicopters and let everybody get up in there and shoot them.
I'm telling you, we killed Jack's, my little brother killed one Friday evening. It weighed it was 215. All right, last year he killed one that weighed 225, 235, and then a couple month or two back we killed one running dogs on the place that would have been about 275. And then this one was 215. All of them had been within a year, and they were all boars off the same little block of woods. They're just everywhere. And so y'all call and tell us some stories. Give us some ideas, things that we need to talk about. It's youth night tonight as well. We're opening it up for the youth to call in, give us a hunting story, and give us some topics to talk about. Call us at 1-800-251-5891. or pound 444 if you C-Spire customer. Mr. Paul, we got Mr. P.J. Weeks has done called in with Rain Down Ministries, and he's going to give us an update on how their camps have been going so far. How are you, P.J.?
I'm doing well, Landon. How about yourself?
Man, too blessed to be stressed.
That's right, Mr. Paul. You doing good tonight?
Yeah, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. Why come?
I'm telling you, because Santa Claus is coming to town.
He is. He'll be here.
Right now, though, it feels like we need to be in flip-flops and shorts.
I'm telling you. So how things been going with y'all, PJ?
It's going really well, Landon. We had our first camp the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And, man, it was phenomenal. The weather was perfect. We had 9 youth hunters in camps with their guides. We killed 4 deer. We usually, it's crazy because it's in cycles. You always kind of see the same amount of deer, and you see a lot of does first of the season. You don't see as many shooters, but typically we always have 1 shooter buck killed at the first camp of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, it happened to me and my daughter. It was the first refuge hunting camp she has ever attended.
Oh, wow.
She's 10 years old. Robin Ann, she's my sweetheart. She came, and she was the one that killed the shooter buck, not because I put her in the best place. We actually picked the last stand that was on the board that had already been hunted, and she just did an amazing job. I was so proud of Robin Ann.
Wow.
10 years old. It was a really nice, it should have been an 8-point, but it had a broke-off side, and it was a 7-point. But
sure.
We just had a great camp. Had a guy come all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina, Mr. Bob Sullivan, with his son.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a blessing. The National Rifle Association we get a grant from them each year to help us with some of our stuff. And they did an article last year in their Traditions magazine, and it went all up the East Coast and all up in the North. And we actually got a call from a church in Buffalo, New York.
Wow.
And said, hey, we have a rich hunting heritage up here in New York. Can you guys kind of show us how this works? I said, I don't know if rednecks are the same in New York as they are in Mississippi, but we can have that conversation. But most all the kids are from Mississippi. We're Mississippi boys and love Mississippi. But every once in a while, we'll have some guys interested, and they'll bring their sons or kiddos down to hunt with us. And just great time in the Word of God and learning, how to enjoy creation, practice conservation, ultimately that it all points to God's grace in Christ.
Right. Well, PJ, I have yet to ask you this question, but and I hate to put you on the spot and ask you this. I know that this Rain Down Ministries has impacted just hundreds of kids' lives ever since y'all have been started. There's no doubt about that. Just from what little bit I was around y'all and saw with my youth hunt. But how many, if you had to guess, how many kids have you seen become saved because of this camp?
Well, I can tell you just last year.
Okay.
We had 4 people last year that we know gave their life to Christ through our camp.
Wow.
And one of those was an adult man that has been coming to camp for a couple of years with his daughter and has brought other groups. He actually helps us with our Patriot side of the ministry, where we do camp for combat veterans and their children. A lot of people do stuff for combat vets, but very few do things for the combat vets and their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And with the spiritual nature of the side, Sam Caston's his name, and he is a dear friend. He's a combat veteran, and years ago he said, I want to start doing this for our guys. Well, long story short, last year after camp, he said, I've been teaching this stuff to my kiddos. I've been doing this with you guys. And I just realized that I've never given my life to Christ. I thought that I had, and he wanted to be baptized in the lake at the camp.
Oh man!
And so we baptized him there with the blessing of his local church there. But I know last year we had 4. A couple of years ago, I can tell you this story. One of our leaders from Pascagoula had brought a group to camp. And on the way home, these young boys started asking questions like, Mr. PJ was saying that death brings life, and when we harvest the deer, it's, God was the first hunter, and started asking all these questions.
Yeah.
Well, it got to the point to where Adam pulled the van over and explained it even more clearly, to the point that those young boys said, hey, I want to give my life to Christ.
Oh man,
this is what I need, and this is what I see.
Wow.
I
PJ, stop right there. We gotta go to a break. So just hold up right there. I know everybody's kind of glued in to hear that, so they'll stay with us and return after this break. Y'all, we're talking with PJ Weeks, myself, Landon Moore, and Mr. Paul Lott. Y'all give us a call at 1-800-251-5891 or pound 444 if you C-Spire customer. We'll be right back. Y'all don't go away.
Legendary entertainer Paul Ott brings you his greatest hits. Get them all in this special CD-DVD combo set, including Old Blue,
Many and a many of an early morn.
I Am Mississippi,
I am everything good you have ever dreamed about.
Right Arm of America, and many more. To order, visit listentotheeagle.com or send $20 check or money order to Paul Ott's Greatest Hits, Box 219, Summit, Mississippi 39666.
Welcome back to Listen to the Eagle. We are live in Jackson, Mississippi in the Reed's Metal Studio in the beautiful Farm Bureau building. We got Mr. PJ Weeks along with myself, Landon Moore, and Mr. Paul Lott. PJ, take it back up where we left off, brother.
Well, you were just asking how many people have come to faith in Christ through the hunting camps. And to be honest, the reality is God designed the outdoors as a way for us to recognize who he is, and ultimately so that we can have a relationship with him. So for us, it's a natural classroom.
Sure.
It's not real hard to bridge that gap when we spend time in creation and conservation, bringing it all back around, and especially when we harvest animals. that death brings life is a pretty easy gap to bridge. God created it that way. And so it's pretty easy, but we have literally seen lives change. We've seen families be restored, husbands and mothers that were having trouble, and God worked through their children loving camp, and then, kind of pressed their parents to, for them to bring them to camp, and their parents coming to camp with them and seeing like families restored on the verge of divorce, and seeing a healthy family come back together and be restored through that. God does incredible things when we follow His plan.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's phenomenal.
We've seen a lot. Maybe it's sad that I can't say it's this many. But if I were to think back through the years, I could tell you exact kids. And when they come back to camp, I can tell you this kid and this kid and this kid and this family, and it's neat now to look back and see what God's done.
Right. Well, I mean, just because it didn't happen right there that day, if it happened, I promise you, if it happened down the road, I promise you, that camp played a role in it down.
Oh, absolutely.
From
absolutely
down the road. Man, PJ, we appreciate what y'all are doing, man. Y'all keep it up. Y'all, this is PJ Weeks with Rain Down Ministries. Y'all check them out. They have a Facebook page, and they are a nonprofit deal. I mean, they everything is funded from a what is it y'all do, PJ? Like an event that raises money for y'all's camps?
Yeah, we do a couple of things each year. We do a banquet in Laurel,
right.
And we also do a kind of a raffle fundraiser, 30-gun fundraiser. But we're going to change that this year, 2018, and do a skeet shoot most likely. But then donations, and God provides.
That's right.
But we are intentional about funding, and we knew that the model we chose was not a very good model as far as a business model, but we knew that God was going to provide because of what we were doing.
That's right.
And He has in a huge way.
That's right. Right. Well, man, PJ, we appreciate you calling in, brother. We got a caller or two we got to get to. Thank you so much for everything you do, and we're praying for y'all, and y'all just keep it up, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Landon.
All right.
Appreciate you, and thank you, Mr. Paul.
Y'all have a good night. We're going to go, Mr. Paul, we're going to go to a caller in Tupelo, Mississippi. His name is Mr. Mike. Mr. Mike, you doing all right?
Got a good Mr. Mike from Greenwood originally.
Greenwood, okay, that's even better.
That's I know all about Carroll in LaFleur County.
That's exactly right, exactly. What you got going on, buddy?
Well, what I want to tell y'all is the best way to not get rid of the pigs, because these wild boars is the best meat I've ever eaten. I mean, you cook it right.
That's right.
I mean, we had a barbecue one time, and I learned what the word Worcestershire sauce meant.
Uh-huh.
This man came up and said, "Boy, Worcestershire sauce you put on here?" I said, "Yeah, that's right."
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
We need to have a hog roast in Greenwood, and the first thing we need to do, in all seriousness, is go out to Mr. Hart. Have you ever been on Harmony Road before in your life?
I guarantee you.
And you go around the Meeks Road.
Yeah. Just keep
you
on
talk
going
to every man. You go out to every man that's got a 4-wheel drive, young boy, give him a 410 shotgun single barrel with a gross of slugs, and let's go hunt us some hogs.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, is there any reason why we can't, harvest these animals? And, it's real good food.
Well, I don't think the problem is finding people to shoot them, Mike. It's just people that, number one, they don't come out as often in the daytime as what we'd like them to. And they've gotten smart. They've gotten trap shy. They've gotten to where these hog hunters that run them with dogs, they'll run worse than a deer will, and they'll just run them for hours and hours. And the problem is, like Mr. Paul said earlier, they start having little ones so young, and they can have like 3 litters a year. It's just, you just can't contain that, can't control it. And the problem is is they're gonna find food. I mean, they're not gonna, because they're not scared of anything, and their only enemy is us, is humans. So they'll go up in people's yards, eat out of their flower beds. Whereas a dog or something can get after a deer, and a hog ain't gonna just run most of the time. He's gonna stand his ground, and so it's really bad. They'll go to a acorn tree that's dropping acorns, and they'll sit right there and eat till every acorn is gone. Then they'll just go to the next one. And so
that's what I need to be on these hunting trips. See, because in 1991 I lost my sight. So I can guide y'all around them woods in the dark and harm the road.
There you go. Gracious.
And I tell you what, brother, it's just the epidemic. I didn't realize it until I heard your show tonight. I'm like, that is bad. You told me after breeding 3 times
yes, sir,
a year, and the youngest ones are having babies again.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean,
like,
you think about it. If a little shote is born, January 1st, well, 8 months later, she's having her first little ones. I mean, it's insane. And then from that point forward, it's year round. And so they're just, and I don't know where, like up in the Delta and places, surely they don't have the thickets and stuff that we do down here. I know they don't, but that's where they hide, man, in these sloughs and these thickets. And just, I mean, they've got it made down here. They just, they can turn around a bush and be hid again. So
I need to send some of my boys down there, and one day we're going to take care of this problem. And I just discovered y'all's show last week, and I've enjoyed every second of it. I will continue to listen every Monday. And every time I talk to y'all, it's one thing I'm going to say. Hell steak.
Don't get Mr. Paul started on that. Mr. Mike, we appreciate your call, and enjoy talking to you. Give us a call next Monday night. Mr. Paul, what about I hate to jump over to sports after we're talking about in the great outdoors and all, but what about Alabama getting in there to the finals? They made it.
Not only got in there, but they probably go win it. Roll Tide. They get it. Alabama. Well, see, they had a bunch of injured players now on back now, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, people is funny listening to all these comments on Facebook and all, but it's hard to take a team that doesn't have but one loss, and especially in the Southeastern Conference, and not put them in there. So I was worried that Ohio State was gonna get in there, but I'm glad to see that it's Alabama in there. So we've got Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, and Oklahoma. Is that right?
Yeah, SEC's got 2 in there, Landon.
That's right. And Clemson's pretty close to the SEC.
Well, it really is.
They're down here in the South with us. Well, y'all give us a call. We officially have to go to another break at 1-800-251-5891 or pound 444 if you're a C Spire customer. Talking about hog hunting, y'all give us some stories. Tell us what we need to do about them. Give us some ideas, or just call in and tell us a good hunting story. Y'all hang with us. We'll be right back.
Paul Ott's The Day of the Lord CD-DVD combo set is our free gift to you and your family. The Day of the Lord includes songs like I Am That I Am, Don't Cry for Me, and They Could Not Stop His Love, as well as special sermons by Tom Lester, Dr. Larry LeBlanc, and others. Paul's special holy visits and the printed Don't Cry for Me poster are also included. Get yours by calling 1-800-684-9486 or by letter to New Day of the Lord Ministries Foundation, Box 219, Summit, Mississippi 39666.
Welcome back to Listen to the Eagle. I'm your host, Landon Moore, Mitt County Farm Bureau agent, along with Mr. Paul Ott. Y'all give us a call. We are live here in Jackson, Mississippi at 1-800-251-5891 or pound 444 if you C Spire customer. Going to Mr. Brandon in Leland, Mississippi. Brandon, how are you?
Hey, man. How you doing, Landon? We're doing good tonight.
Good. What we got?
Man, just figured I'd call in. He called me out on Facebook saying I can't catch no fish. I had to call and give a little report.
Well, I just, look, all I know is that I see you, posting, being on the water a lot, but I don't see many fish. I don't know if it's because you scared to brag or what it is.
Oh, man, I don't want nobody laughing at my little fish I'm posting.
I hear you. We had a guy call in. One of the very first shows I did, so it's been several months ago. And he was complaining about trolling, the people that trolled, and that they were going to fish the lakes out. Basically saying, that they're catching too many fish. And I asked him, I said, well, sir, what's the difference between a man catching his limit on a stump or a pile, or catching his limit trolling? And he said, well, they don't take them 20 minutes. I said, well, the only difference there is time.
Man, this is one of the most controversial subjects that is ever talked about, whether it comes to minnows, jigs. It's a hot-button topic with a lot of folks, and you get a lot of jig pole purists. I can relate with them. I grew up with a jig pole in my hand on an oxbow lake, beating the brush piles to death, and love it still to this day. There's nothing like that thump on the end of the line with one pole in your hand. But on a lot of these lakes and reservoirs, as the structure has started to diminish, the fish get spread out, and trolling to cover more water is a very effective way to catch fish. As you said, Landon, I'm kind of the mentality that let the game and fish set the limits, and whether you catch your limit in 10 minutes or 10 hours.
Right.
A limit's a limit. That's the number of fish that are going to come out. I mean, I've been fishing the past few trips, and my tournament partner and I, we very seldom keep fish. If we catch a fish over 14 inches, they go back. That's not a frying pan fish for me. We can keep plenty of 12 to 13-inch fish on most of these lakes. That makes a heck of a fillet that's not your, 14, 15, 16-inch trophy fish.
Sure.
Well, there's a huge discussion. I'm on a forum as well, crappie.com. There's lots of folks that talk about it. It gets beat to death, but, the game and fish, they do a good job of regulating these lakes and keeping the limits to where it doesn't get overfished. Mm-hmm. People drive from Indiana, Pennsylvania, Missouri, all over the country to come down here and fish these amazing fisheries that we have. I've never seen them fished out, and they have bad spawn years, maybe some issues with size one year, but give it 2 or 3 years, and all the numbers of little fish
it comes back.
It's cyclical.
Brandon, we gotta go. Thank you for your call, man, and giving all the listeners an update. We got to go to another break. Y'all give us a call at 1-800-251-5891 or pound 444 if you C Spire customer. Talking about anything and everything. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back.
Legendary entertainer Paul Ott brings you his greatest hits. Get them all in this special CD-DVD combo set, including Old Blue,
Many and a many of an early morn.
I Am Mississippi,
I am everything good you have ever dreamed about.
Right Arm of America, and many more. To order, visit listentotheeagle.com or send $20 check or money order to Paul Ott's Greatest Hits, Box 219, Summit, Mississippi 39666.
Welcome back to Listen to the Eagle. We're live in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm your host, Landon Moore, along with Mr. Paul Ott, talking about a little bit of everything tonight. But we got to go to a caller, to Mr. David Chandler in Laurel as well.
Yeah, I'm in Laurel. Hey, everybody. 2 things. One, we had a 10-acre private lake down here in Jones County, and our rule was that whatever we caught, we kept it. Mm-hmm. That was our management system. It seemed to work good. We caught a lot of good fish. Big or small, we always caught fish. That was the biggest thing.
Sure.
Next thing is we had the Philadelphia Gun Show this past weekend. I just want to say thank you to everybody that come out and have a happy Merry Christmas and a safe one.
Well, when's y'all's? Yes, sir. We appreciate your call. When is y'all's next gun show?
We're going up toward Greenville there. Third weekend of February. We're going to be off for a little while.
Third weekend in February.
If you're going to Lake Washington this weekend, you better get you some Carhartts.
I hear you. Yeah, they've got a tournament. Sound what Brandon was telling me up that way. So yeah, it's going to be warm. I tell you, I passed a boat one time that had a you got these propane heaters that you can cut on and it'll put out heat. I passed one day that had his fish cooker in the boat with him. He had that fish cooker running wide open, and I guess that was his heat. He'd turn around and warm his hands up, and also, but that's wanting to catch a fish bad right there.
That's bad. That's bad.
Yes, sir. Mr. David, we appreciate your call. Y'all, thank you so much for being with us. We're going to close tonight like I do all my shows with the Lord's Prayer. Teach your children the Lord's Prayer. Get them out in the outdoors. But this is something that they need to all know and come up growing up learning it and everything. Mr. Paul, if you would say it with me. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
On earth as it is in heaven.
As in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us our trespasses. As we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not in temptation. And deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever, ever. Amen. Thank y'all. We love y'all.